What's going on? God damn, what the fuck? You know, there might be an issue here. I don't remember ever having this much of an issue with bugs, like mosquitoes. I mean, haven't mosquitoes killed more things on this planet in history than any other creature in history? I'm pretty sure that's a fact. Let's look that up real quick. Don't mean to keep you waiting, but let's look that up. Hold on. How many deaths are mosquitoes responsible for in our history? Hold on there. Don't go nowhere. Mosquitoes kill more humans than human murderers do. Well, that's not saying much, bro. Jesus. Terrible article, whoever you are. What? This is exactly what I was looking for. Yeah. What does it say? Malaria killed half the people who have ever lived. Look at this. These little shits. Malaria would have needed to kill an average of about 5.5 million people a year to kill half of everyone who has ever lived. We don't have the data to prove that it did this. Well, then what the fuck are you writing the article for, bro? It's one of these fake news things. You're proving Trump right. What's happening? Malaria kills up to 1 million people a year today, despite modern medicine. Well, there you go. Most of them are in Africa, but I was somewhat right. Okay, anyways, let's push on. We're wasting too much time here on mosquitoes. But back to my story. Yes, I went to the story I was gonna talk about. I went running trails earlier, and I'd always noticed that there was these like mesquite trees that have fallen over. And so they look pretty cool, like the inside of them, you know, the rings on the inside of it, they look real cool. And I'd never done anything with like woodworking. You know, my dad is, you know, pretty established in it, but, you know, I thought maybe since I look sort of like Jesus that I could summon some kind of spiritual powers and you know, make something cool with some of these mesquite trees. So I went, and of course I was going to grab the ones that, you know, had fallen over. I wasn't going to be cutting off branches of healthy trees. I care about the earth. And, yeah, so I took this little handsaw after I got done running. You know, it was in my car, and I was going to cut a big chunk out of this tree or branch that had fallen over. And then as I was sawing away, you know, this old lady walks by and decided she wanted to stick her nose right in my business, and she had started questioning me about what I was doing. And I don't know if it's the fact that she's an old woman and she's hesitant as it is, which if that's the case, she probably shouldn't have opened her fat mouth. But I turned around, you know, and I'm standing there sweaty and shirtless, and I turn around with a handsaw in my hand, and that might be somewhat startling to an older woman. But, yeah, so I had told her, you know, exactly what I just said, that I was, you know, going to take a piece of this wood home to do something with it, and she told me that I couldn't do that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? I'm not out here, like, you know, clubbing baby seals in the head or something like that. I'm taking pieces of fallen tree, not healthy tree, you know, a tree where, you know, the root system had died or something and fallen over. She's acting like I'm over here like, you know, fucking choking baby lambs to death or something. So she tried to give me shit for it, and I was just like, look, lady, I'm the one with the saw in my hand. Back off. But, yeah, anyways, so enough about me. Another sweet-ass episode. This week, we have Chris Conger on, who is the owner of Smoke Shack BBQ. He is the owner of the Pigpen Bar next door. and the owner of soon-to-be-open Smoke Shack Meat Market, which is going to be next door, all on that little corner of Broadway and I don't know what that street is, but it's, right across from the Whitty Museum. This dude's sewing up a corner of San Antonio. It's got a couple businesses going there. It's got a pretty sweet-ass thing going on over there. Not to mention, I'm there eating their barbecue several times a month, man. Probably, twice a week. It's a great spot. The dude's doing some great barbecue, great brisket. And I was pretty hyped. I got to get him on, and it was a hot day. We drank a beer and sat down and had a good conversation. So I just want to say, once again, I posted about it, but the podcast is now available on iTunes for your download pleasure. Completely free. The content's all free, just like on YouTube. I just like to ask if y'all will please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. That's the way that I build this up. That's the way that anybody builds this up. That's the way that we get traffic and we get the capability of monetizing the podcast. It all comes from traffic and viewership. So if y'all please will rate, review, and subscribe, I appreciate that. Thanks again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and go get yourself some brisket, man. It's a great place to eat. The guy's doing it right, and thanks so much, guys. Here's the episode. Three, two, one. Yeah, Shane. Chris Conger. You say it right? Chris Conger?
Yeah.
I said it right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sitting here with Chris Conger, which we're not going to cut out that beginning right there because this is natural. We're not going to fuck things up like that. It's a conversation. Shit happens.
That's right.
So, I'm sitting here with Chris Conger, the owner of the Smoke Shack. And this is one thing I want to kind of clear up. Do you own Pigpen too?
Yep, I own Pigpen, Smoke Shack, and we're about to open up the Smoke Shack Meat Market.
Is that an exclusive? Or how is this going? Has this been blasted? Have you been blasting out information on it? Because I hadn't heard about this.
It has been. It has been in the newspaper.
Oh well, I guess everybody knows in San Antonio but me.
Yeah.
That's cool. So before we talk about the meat market, I just want to say, man, we talked about this a little bit before we started the podcast, but I mean, I'm over here at the Smoke Shack, and if you don't know what the Smoke Shack is, lose my number, first of all. But it's a barbecue restaurant based here in San Antonio. And I would say that it's the best brisket in San Antonio. And that that is the appropriate credential for, I guess, rating a barbecue restaurant, right, by their brisket. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that is it's definitely the hardest thing to perfect.
Right, because it's the easiest thing. I don't want to say it's the easiest thing to do. It's essentially the most common thing that you would obviously see at a barbecue restaurant,
especially in Texas.
But what separates specifically barbecue restaurant from others, what makes it special, is the brisket.
Yeah.
And so if you're ever walking into a barbecue restaurant for the first time and you're not ordering the brisket to get a real sense of who's behind that meat and who's preparing that meat, then you're just not in it for the right reasons.
If you come in and order a chicken plate, then you're probably not.
Probably watching your figure.
You're definitely watching your figure. But I mean, our chicken's badass. But
don't downplay the chicken because I do get that too. The dark meat, always dark meat.
Yeah, brisket and ribs and sausage. I think are the
ribs.
The trifecta, man. The barbecue, the trio.
So I would first off just like to start that out just saying you got the best brisket in San Antonio. My vote, and hopefully, people that listen to the podcast get you some more people over here and figure this shit out, man, because they need this in their life.
Well, thank you, Shane. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't also hurt to save some of that brisket and cook that shit up with some eggs and peppers in the morning.
No.
Did that this morning.
That's
always order a quarter pound extra to take it for the next day.
You can put brisket on anything and it's good. We put it in that brisket grilled cheese, and that's the
is there a better hangover food than the brisket grilled cheese?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's a better hangover. Those fries with a brisket and grilled cheese from here, that's the ultimate hangover cure.
We try our best at making a good
hangovers cure from this place.
And we put brisket in the Bloody Mary and the at the pig pen.
Yeah, so what's up with that? Is that a common Texas South thing, or is that something you started?
I don't really think no, we did not start it, but everyone puts meat in their Bloody Marys, so we thought, why not put a slice of brisket on it?
Maybe that's just weird to me because I'm not a big Bloody Mary drinker. I'm predominantly a beer drinker.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big old craft beer nerd.
Yeah.
I get into that shit. I read about the beers that I drink and shit, but yeah. I thought it was pretty cool, man. Shoving some of that brisket in there, get that smoky flavor, and
we got some good press from. I mean, it's definitely an eye catcher.
It looks primal. I would say that.
It's really good.
Yeah. Maybe we should have ordered a couple of those. All right, so this is kind of perfect timing in right before Memorial Day weekend. You got to have some sure you have some people out here, especially for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
So let's get into your beginnings of your barbecue adventure, or your venture into barbecue. How did this start? Why is barbecue specifically so appealing to you? And how did you get to the spot now where you're now owning two popular spots here in San Antonio?
Well, we started in a food truck. Well, Smoke Shack started in a food truck.
At a 410 in Nacogdoches,
yeah,
right?
We've been there for almost 8 years. Before that, I'd always worked in restaurants, kitchens. The restaurant life is really the only life that's all I've done. So
yeah. Was it barbecue, or you just done everything?
A little bit of everything. I've worked in bars, sports bars. Hotel kitchens. I've worked. I've worked in a bakery. I'm sure there's, I've worked in 2 barbecue restaurants before this. But yeah, I did my own catering in college.
Do you enjoy cooking?
Oh yeah, you can't be in this industry and not enjoy it.
That's some stressful shit, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's the restaurant life is not easy, but it's a lot of fun. Everything. It's stressful. It's fun. It's rewarding. I love it. So
right. It's got to keep you guessing.
Well, and there's nothing better at the end of a stressful day, and the fact that you succeeded and kicked ass and everybody's happy. It just kind of makes all the problems go away, and you start over the next day, and it's same old shit.
Hell yeah.
It's I love it. I've always been in the restaurant industry. We opened up that food truck in 2010, and it's seems to have taken off. We opened up the restaurant in 2014.
Yep.
And then the bar in 2016.
Yep. Yeah. So was it? I'm sure that it was kind of always on the horizon. You're gonna expand from the food truck, right?
Yeah, that was always.
Was the food truck kind of like a side project while you were, working somewhere else and you were building it up? No.
I was working in another barbecue joint, and when I had my days off, I would slap up some wood and some walls, and built that trailer over 2 months time.
You built it yourself? You and a buddy or something, or just you?
My stepdad, and if a buddy had off, he'd come and help.
God damn, resourceful man over here.
So we it took us about 2 months to build it, maybe 3, and then we set up. Man, I offered the guy to use it for caterings because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it.
So you just built this thing before you really had an ultimate plan with it?
Well, I had been in catering, right? So I knew I wanted to cater with it, but I didn't really have a plan. And I offered the guy that I was working for, if he wanted to use it and just pay me, X amount of dollars every time we used it. And he didn't really want to take me up on that, so I just set it out on the corner one day, and it just took off.
So did you, the first time that you ever took that truck out, did you set it at that 410 in Nacogdoches spot? So you just sat it there, and then now you just kind of indirectly
now I pay
took
rent.
it. Oh, I was about to say, how does that work? Prime spot.
Let me, the landowner let me try it out.
Oh, okay.
He gave me like a month or two to try it out.
Man, that is a beautiful spot right there. Yeah. All those businesses right there. It's a great place. You're right next to 410 and Broadway. That's a prime spot right there. I mean, I wouldn't have found it if, because my daughter goes to school right down the road, and the only reason I found it was back in, several years ago when I was driving back there, and I'm like, what are all these fucking people doing here, man? Yeah. And I saw a barbecue, and man, if I could choose one discipline of food to eat for the rest of my life, it would be, other than eggs, it would just be like, throw me in a fucking barbecue restaurant, man, because brisket and ribs and sausage, man, you can't get any better than that.
You can't. But it does get a little old when you eat it every day for.
Fuck, I know. But you, like you said, brisket can go into everything.
It can. I still eat it every day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So at home, are you interested in cooking other things, or do you cook at home?
Lately
you get tired of that shit
because we've got this meat market opening, so I've been getting a lot of samples, a lot of Wagyu, a lot of Akayushi. Peeler Ranch is going to be supplying our Wagyu.
And so you're gonna source local, obviously.
All the meat's gonna be local.
Okay, is that the same way that y'all are with the meats that you're currently using?
No. It's not possible for a small, because there's only 2 briskets on a cow, right?
Right.
And we're going through 60 briskets on a Saturday, so there's no way. I mean, that's that's 30 cows right there.
Yeah.
That's. For a small operation, there's just no way that they can.
Right, that makes sense.
They can handle that. So, Smoke Shack does not get locally sourced briskets or meat, but we will be making sausage in-house at the meat market, which will trickle over to Smoke Shack.
Like your own custom blends and stuff like that. That's sick.
Yeah.
And that's I kind of always wanted to ask you that question too. So let's go into the meat market a little bit. This is something that you're transitioning to. Where is this opening up at?
Right next door to Smoke Shack. So right on the other side of that wall.
Where the nursery is?
In between the nursery, the old cricket space.
Yeah, you're like carving out a little place in the world over here. What's going on, brother?
That's the goal.
You're not gonna ever have to leave. You can do everything you want to do, right? It's just right here. Yeah, make money, drink, eat, right here.
I mean, it's wearing on me.
Yeah, man, yeah.
That's great, man. We got it all centrally located. Don't have to drive all over town.
And that's a beautiful thing too, man.
It makes my life a little easier, so I can't complain.
So I guess I'd have to go over there and look. What is the space like? How's it gonna work?
It's 1,600 square feet, so it's like a little Cricket cellular store that we took over.
Okay.
It's gonna have a full kitchen in the back for catering. We will ramp up our catering from Smoke Shack. We'll run it out of that kitchen. We've got a nice big walk-in. We've got 21 feet of meat counter space in the front, so we'll have 21 feet of raw meat, where everything. Gonna
get a whole lot of vegans going in there, huh?
Right. 3 or 4 different cuts of beef. We're gonna have grass-fed. We'll have Wagyu. We'll have prime. homemade sausage. We'll.
That is so awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I mean it's gonna
That's
be
exciting.
It's gonna be cool.
And so, is there a projected date, or we just kind of working on that right now, or
at the latest July 1st? So about
this summer?
Yeah, about a month from now.
That's perfect timing. School's out, people trying to cook and swim, and that's a good thing, man. That's pretty sick. I didn't know about that. I'm hyped on it. I'm a meat eater. That's about all it is, just meat and greens for me.
We're gonna have some really good quality stuff. So
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, now I eat. We've been sampling all this Wagyu and Akaishi. Dude, you can't even go back to prime.
Yeah.
Like, I had a prime steak the other night. I was like, it's all
It'll
right.
do. It'll do.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's funny, man.
This Wagyu and Akaishi just, I mean, it literally, it melts in your mouth.
Right.
There's so much marbling, but it's not marbling that you see after you cook it. You see it when it's raw, but it all renders out, and it's just the fat is just renders out in the meat, and it's just, dude, it is like butter. I mean, it's the greatest thing.
Right, it's like that equivalent of it's like those muscle fibers are so finely woven and thin that the fat content is the same. It's just it's like the equivalent of like when people talk about like buying like their sheet counts and shit. How they say that higher sheet counts are like better and softer and shit like that. It's some equivalent
count.
Yeah, whatever. With something like that. It's just a cleaner woven fat content essentially. I'm assuming you're a bloody meat kind of guy, right? You're cooking steaks bloody as shit. Yeah, I hope so. I was about to say I'd be disappointed if you weren't, man. That's the only way to go. You got to do it like that. Man, it's pretty funny. My first job was at a barbecue restaurant when I was 15. I don't know if you remember here in San Antonio was oh Jesus, people in and out.
Those are short ribs.
Yeah, so Chris is showing me some pictures of some short ribs and just the ratio, and that is oh damn. Yeah, we're seeing some beautiful meat. Y'all don't get to see this, but you can if you go see the. So what is it going to be? Smoke Shack Meat Market? What's the name?
Smoke Shack Meat Market.
God damn! Look at this guy. This guy's got a whole fucking corner of Broadway over here to himself.
Yeah, there's a little strip.
Look at that. There's some beautiful cuts. Oh wow. Yeah.
Gotta sear it. A lot of salt, a lot of pepper.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, I put garlic on everything, so
that's fine too.
Yeah, I love chopping up garlic. The old-fashioned way. Fuck all these people trying to throw it in one of those little blender things. I'm cutting that shit up. I'm doing the work myself.
The big chunks, man.
All briskets, all steaks. I'm stuffing.
Have you heard of this black garlic?
God
gold?
damn, I can't believe you brought that up, dude. When I was coming over here, I was just, because before I came, what I do every day is that black gold, that fermented rotten garlic. I eat 2 cloves of that a day because of the amazing anti-inflammatory processes, the gut biome health that you get from it. It's all about elevating that gut biome. And I was just on the way over here, and I was talking to my mom, and I get it at the Pearl. There's a guy that he has his own booth set up there. The black gold, black gold.
He started it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you can get it other places. Like you can order. I was ordering it online actually before I discovered that.
He's a San Antonio guy.
Yeah. For specifically, I went through him. But I was telling Mom. She called me and she goes, what is this shit? She goes, what's this shit you left in my fridge? And it looks rotted. And I was like, don't throw that shit away. I was like, it is rotted, but it's supposed to be like that. But dude, it's so good for you. But it is. You eat that shit straight up. It's rough, man. It is rough. I mean, it'll test every capability you have as a human being to keep that shit down. It's harsh, man. But it's real good for you, man. That's crazy that you bring that up because I was just had a conversation about that. Yeah. But I've been doing. I don't know how that would necessarily translate to meat though. Is that where you're going with that? Were you can you implement that, you think, in meat, or?
Well, I've had a lot of conversations about the black gold lately, and when you said garlic, I just thought of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I eat that shit raw, like 2 cloves a day, just because I'm a fucking weirdo.
That guy, he just started, he's using it, oh shit. There's another, he's using it for another reason. I can't remember what it is. It's like he's either putting it into liquid form or it's crazy.
Is it like some kind of health-oriented thing?
And I can't remember what it is. I just heard about it today.
I couldn't imagine drinking that. That would be... It's rough, man.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
No, I think it's like you like put it on. It's I can't remember. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
That's some like ointment or some shit like that, maybe.
Maybe. That table over there.
Yeah, but that stuff. That's some. I'm there like I go there specifically once a month so I can buy that shit off that dude, and it's, have you ever actually touched it, like felt the texture of it?
No.
It's real. It's
like moist.
Through the process, it's super moist and breaks apart real easily. I mean, it's a rotten.
Yeah.
It's rotten. It's
right.
Fermented, and it's real oily too. It's almost like, like in baseball, you wear that shit under your eye to like block the
right.
the rays of the sun or whatever. It's like, I feel like you could use that shit, but make your eyes just water like crazy, man. Throw that shit in there. Probably work real good though, man. I can't imagine it wouldn't. But no, it's super good for you, man. But so this meat market idea that you had to open up, how long into the process of opening up these two did you think you want to try to expand into doing that? Did you think you always wanted to go that route?
I always wanted that space because I wanted to tie up these 3 buildings.
Okay.
But we didn't know what we were gonna do with that. I mean, even after we decided we were going to put a meat market there, we still weren't really 100% like,
yeah,
hey, we I don't know. It's kind of how Pigpen was, we don't really, I think it's because we try not to, we do overthink. But, Pigpen is kind of turned in, even though we serve all the food out of a food truck and it's a bar, dude, we're serving, it's almost 50% food now.
It's like its own entity now.
Well, it's like, why we should have just built a kitchen and made another restaurant.
Right. So, but it's convenient enough because you have next door,
right.
So.
You're going to incorporate the barbecue over here, and but now these guys are getting slammed in the food truck, and it's tough,
That's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, it is. It is and it isn't. I mean, these guys, these food trucks are hot, and especially when it gets to be the summertime.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's rough.
It seems.
Gotta hand it to them.
It seems to me that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of make, I don't know if impulsive is the right word to use. Maybe I don't know, driven or something. But it seems like you've made some decisions professionally that were pretty risky, that you didn't necessarily have a foolproof plan for before going through with them.
No plan.
Right. That's kind of your personality.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't ever really good at school. As far as making a business plan, it's just, at the end of the day, a piece of paper doesn't matter, Right. It's the idea. It's, the demographics, what's in the area.
The product that you're putting out.
The product that you're putting out, the consistency, the hospitality, there's just so many factors. Why wouldn't a restaurant work here? Okay, so so we've got that nailed down. Then you figure out, well, what's around here? Well, it's a neighborhood. Okay, well, why don't we put a playground in, because there's a bunch of kids in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's just kind of like, I just don't know if you can. There's just a lot of things that you can't project, and I feel like the restaurant industry is one of those things that it's just really hard or to predict.
Yeah, statistically, it's notoriously difficult
You
to
never
open a
know
restaurant,
what's
and
gonna work.
yeah, because you're fucking with people's food, man, and that's the whole. I mean, you can do a lot of things to people, but when it comes to like people eating, like people being hungry,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one thing you can't fuck with.
Yeah, if your shit isn't good, then they're gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah, and then you're gonna go down. That's how it goes.
So we're gonna try and make it the best. You know, we'll do 10 things. We'll do nachos. We'll do tacos. We'll do, you know, what food that it's comfort food.
Right.
You know, even though it's not Southern comfort food, it's South Texas comfort food with some Mexican flair, and I mean, dude, it's what people are used to or down here. I mean,
Absolutely, and in
try
this,
and make it on par with what everybody else is doing. So
yeah, I mean, and that's all you can do.
not
But
better. Yeah.
I mean, it's gotta. I mean, and that's weird. Going kind of piggybacking on that idea about, you know, not thinking everything out 100% is, man, a lot of times people get stuck in their head, and they can be in that them achieving something like this or taking a chance, even if it's a calculated risk, can kind of be hindered by overthinking some shit.
Yep.
And that's kind of interesting that you were just like, you know what, I have some skills, and if I just put these fucking skills out there, even though I don't have a foolproof plan, you kind of just believed in what you were going to do and what you could put out, huh?
You know, when we first opened, this Pigpen is named after Pigpen from the Grateful Dead.
Oh, okay.
So, also, it kind of acts as a pig pen for the kids. So it kind of hand in hand, right?
Right.
But I wanted this to be a blues bar at night.
Oh, yeah?
Pigpen was the blues influence on the Dead. I'm a huge Deadhead. So I really wanted this to be, and I went to school in Mississippi, where there are some badass old blues joints.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's the spot to be, man.
Some really
Like
badass, just juke joints. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you can go drive out 30 minutes to an hour and be in the middle of nowhere and roll up on Po Monkeys, dude.
Yep.
Fucking badass juke joint.
That's beautiful, man.
That place is still around. I think Po Monkeys, and he just died, but God, I mean, what a badass spot. But yeah, so I wanted this to be a blues joint. We started out having music 4 nights a week. My wife said, we're only going to do this for a year, and then we'll switch gears. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then we'll let it go a year. After a year, we spent a shit ton of money on music and didn't make any back.
Right.
So we switched gears. I have music every brunch. I have Sunday brunch, we have music, but that doesn't really, there's already a built-in crowd for that. But as far as live music, Fridays and Saturday nights, I only do it like twice a month now. Yeah. Make it an event, it's just, so you really, like you were saying earlier, you really have to be you got to be subject to change, whatever your plan is. Because you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. If you try and if I would have tried to stick this thing out as a blues joint,
strictly a blues joint,
it would have folded.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's part of being a part of the business, is you got to give the people what they're coming here for, right. And that's kind of, and you probably had the foresight to see that, is that that you're gonna, at the beginning it's easy if you hit it off right and everything goes well. But the difficult part is people get uncomfortable with change. Mm-hmm. And it's really not so much all the time about the restaurant owner or any business, the business owner. It's about what who your demographic is. They're kind of dictating everything. You're delivering that core foundation of products, but it's just, it's gonna shift, it's gonna change, it's gonna be fucking random. Right.
That's it. That's what the restaurant industry is. You just summed it up in one word.
Yeah.
It's random.
Yeah.
You never know who's coming. You never know when they're coming. And it's just, and you never know what they're gonna eat.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Have you read into any of this genetically engineered meat that they're doing now?
No.
it's not FDA approved and it's not open to the public, but they're essentially doing is they're genetically engineering meat that comes from that it completely it's not made from any animal product whatsoever. It's meat created in a lab out of, I think, stem cells. So it's not animal product. It's genetically engineered meat, and it's supposed to be what we're going to be looking into for the future of sustaining this enormous population that continues to grow on the planet.
Well, hopefully I'll be gone by then.
That's what I'm saying, man. But the fucked up part is that the kids, man, and I have a daughter, 5-year-old daughter, and it's like, man, I can sit here and say, oh, I might be gone when all this crazy shit goes down, but what they're gonna be eating and the transparency in this fucking world now, and you can just see that it's just gonna get so intense in the future.
It already is intense.
Yeah, it's too much almost sometimes, huh?
Yeah. That's too bad.
Well, I guess good news is they're pretty far off from having this be, a consumable product or even a marketable product because of the price. The first burger that they made was like, I think it cost like something like $330,000 for like an 8-ounce patty of genetically engineered meat. But they have plans on getting it down to a certain point.
Well, sure.
And it's just crazy because if you think about it, man, it's like the reason a lot of scientists kind of, there's this universal belief that the reason we've evolved to the state we are in as human beings now, the species that we are now, the reason the brain grew so dramatically over a short period of time was because of eating and cooking meat. So what do you think the future is going to hold for us when we're eating genetically engineered meat? You know what I mean?
I won't be eating that.
Isn't that fucked up?
I won't eat that. I'll just have a ranch or farm and kill my own animals and eat the shit to myself.
Yeah, it's just...
I think that's what I don't know, man. I think that's just so far out. Like,
like, there's something fucked up about that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not eating... Like, there's something to... There's a reason. There's this like balance in the world, like life and death. It's the whole yin and yang archetype. It's the balance, right? And for life, just for us to be on this planet now, shit had to die for us to be alive. And when we die, it's all this big cycle, where we're absorbed and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But if we get to a point where we as a species is not consuming other living beings, I mean, dude, this is like the shit that you watch in movies, like when fucking zombies happen and shit. Like, that's when we reach a point where, like, as a species, it's like, dude, we should look back at that one point where we started eating the fucking lab meat, and then the reason why we're all fucking,
right?
You know what I mean? It's gonna get scary, man.
Yeah.
Are you a hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah? How often do you hunt?
Maybe once a year.
Yeah. Rifles, bow?
Rifles.
You ever go hog hunting?
No. I mean, I don't need to because I get them delivered to me.
Oh shit.
I mean,
well, you got the Connect, so you can get that shit in.
I'll shoot a deer, but I don't really. I mean, I love venison.
Yeah.
I mean, venison sausage might be my favorite meal.
Really?
Yeah.
What about bison? You ever eat bison?
Yep.
Bison's got the highest lean protein content out of any meat other than alligator.
We just got some samples on some ground bison.
Really?
Yeah.
Bison and egg.
Bison and egg.
That's your breakfast, man.
Bison and egg taco, huh?
Dude, bison and egg. Cut up some red peppers, green peppers, jalapenos, a whole avocado on the side.
Yeah.
I'll get that cube bison. Like, I'll go to some of these specialty meat markets and I'll get cube that bison.
Yeah.
Cook that shit up a little bit. Yeah. It's bloody. You want that blood. Yeah. So mix that up with some eggs and oh man, that's a meal right there. And I feed and I feed my daughter this too, man. Like, I like the fact that I get to, it's always kind of meant a lot to me that, like, when you see, like, I have, like, for example, like my sister, she has, a little boy, and he's the pickiest little shit on the planet.
Yeah.
Doesn't eat anything. I mean, the kid survives on, like, gummy worms and potato chips. It's kind of blows my mind, and my daughter, since the time she was born, I always fed her everything I eat.
Right.
I never cooked her own special meals. Anything I was cooking, she was eating. So she's eating everything, man. Jalapenos, I don't know what the fuck it is. She eats everything. Yeah. So it's always been like a real cool thing that, I'll get these exotic meats, or even the way that I like to cook my meat. Specifically, I don't have to worry about feeding her a certain way, or cooking it to a certain, obviously with chicken and turkey and shit like that. You got to watch out for that. But cook it in a certain way, and I always found that, really cool, that kind of implement those specialty meats into, like, my life, especially when you're eating, I don't know, it is kind of game meat, when you get into, like, the venison and bison stuff, but a lot of those meats specifically are way more nutrient dense than wild animals, and the diets that they're surviving on, and what they're consuming, and the quantities of these nutrients that they have to sustain themselves on. It's the healthier meat. Just wish it wasn't so fucking expensive, because that shit can get real expensive, man.
Yeah, but you know what? And I kind of, going back to the meat market, we were thinking, it's like, oh, do we have all this badass meat that's more expensive, or do we have cheaper meat that is, more affordable? And it's like, well, you know what? Why the hell would you open up a badass shop and sell
what everybody else is selling,
meat?
Or just sell what everybody else is fucking selling?
Why am I going to sell what
It's going to be like everybody else.
I'm not. I'm going to sell some fucking badass meat.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be more expensive.
Of course.
But you can tell a difference.
But I think you're in the area for that. I mean, you got Alamo Heights, you got downtown, you got people that spend money over here. You got the museums over here. This is this is Broadway, man. Like, you're at a place in town where you have a market for that. This is a really good spot. Like, this is a good place to be. And on top of that, people, when it comes to food, man, people spend the money.
Right.
I mean, like I said, you're in the restaurant business, and you know this better than anybody. When you fuck with people's food, like I said, that's one of the worst things you can do. And vice versa, people spend money for food. Yeah. They're feeding themselves. It's comfort. Everyone eats.
Right.
Everyone loves this shit. Yep. And so I think, you're going to open up a place that's just going to sell the same shit that, H-E-B does, then you might get some success out of it for a bit, but...
We don't want to sell anything that H-E-B is selling.
Yeah.
So it's gotten to that point where everything that I don't think we're going to have... We might have a couple items... like, market style items, like canned stuff that you can get at H-E-B, but as far as, it is going to be a I hate to use the word boutique, but it's going to be like a really badass little... Is it
because
meat
the
shop.
way the word rolls off your tongue sounds fucking stupid,
weird,
right?
Yeah.
Boutique.
Yeah, I don't like that word.
I did it's funny, not the last episode of the podcast, but the one I did before, I did with this guy David Burrow, who opened up the San Antonio's first CBD dispensary.
Oh yeah.
Alamo Botanicals over in Stone Oak, and I had actually referred to his shop as boutique, and he's like, I don't like that word, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like,
no one likes that word.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. It's kind of
sounds like I'm going to get my...
Sounds like you're about to put on a
apron.
What are those fucking fluffy dresses that women wore back in the day? You know what I mean? It's like where you get powdered up at. Like that's a spot you go get powdered up at and put your wig on and.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's not the right word, but you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. It's for them Nancy boys out there. Well, cool, man. It's the summer, so what? We got anything other than we know we got the meat market opening up? You got anything special planned for the mainstays here, Smoke Shack?
Not really, man. Just
it's gonna be a hot fucking summer, man.
Yeah, summer is just kind of summer for Pigpen. It's kind of a time to regroup, fix some stuff up. We'll have some live shows, not many. Smoke Shack stays pretty busy with the tourists. Meat market will be open. I mean, it's, hopefully it's a busy summer.
Oh, I'm sure it will, man. And so what, say that date again. When is it open? When is the meat market open
At the latest, July 1st. I'm hoping for the last week in June.
So, yeah, man, about a month away then, huh?
Yeah.
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man, we're going to wrap this up here in a sec, but I just want to say, thanks for doing the podcast, man. You didn't have to do it, but I do want to say you're doing a lot of shit right. I'm a very frequent customer. I love this. I love the food. I love the barbecue, the brisket.
Well, thank you.
Good beers over here at the Pig Pen, and everybody needs to come check it out. It's definitely a great place and a great area, and Chris, thanks so much for doing it, man.
Cool, man. Well, thank you, Shane. Thanks for having me.
And if there's, anything else you want to throw out there, I don't know if you want to, I think on Instagram, it's just Smoke Shack, at Smoke Shack, right?
Smoke Shack Instagram is Smoke Shack, and then, I don't even remember, Smoke Shack Meat Market, and
Pigpen Bar or something.
Pigpen SA, or the Pigpen Bar.
The _Pigpen_bar,
Yeah,
something like that. Some shit like that. Well, shit. Thanks so much for doing this, brother.
Oh, man.
It's a beautiful place. You got a lot of shit going on, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Shane.